Hey there. Today we are looking at a couple fine art papers. That is the paper that I print to the most. I normally use Moab Entrada. It's what I've always used. I used to use the Bright, now I use the Natural. It's 300 GS, or it's 290 GSM, sorry, and 21.5 mils thick. And today we are looking at the Red River Aurora Natural 300. It is 300 GSM. And it is 18 mils thick. So it is a little heavier, a little denser, but a little thinner by about 15%. They feel very similar. I'm a big fan of Entrada. I used to use the Bright and I switched to Natural to get to go OBA free, and because it matches the cold press paper of theirs I use. But recently I've been talking to Drew, the owner of Red River, through emails, and he's been really helpful getting me set up with some printer profiles I was having an issue with. And I've used their luster paper, their Ultra Satin Pro, and their Polar Matte for a long time. I use a ton of their Polar Matte these days. It's kind of replaced my luster, just because more people are buying it, but I still am fully stocked in luster in the Satin Pro and the Polar Matte. But for art paper, I wanted to try theirs out. So looking at the two papers, I can tell you that the Entrada is whiter. It is brighter. They're both natural. They're both OBA free. I'm used to the feel of the Entrada because I have used this stuff every day for years. They feel different. I like the feel of the Aurora, but it would take some getting used to. So we're gonna take these sheets over to my Epson SureColor P900, and we're gonna do a couple prints and see what they look like. Okay, so I'm at my Epson SP900. I'm gonna print one sheet of each. Red River makes really nice sample packs. Moab may as well, but they don't have nearly as big a selection of papers. So you can pick their fine art and order a packet of 8.5 by 11 sheets, one of each of their kinds of fine art paper. So I just have one sheet. Red River also has EMY files. As far as I know, Moab does not. Now, an EMY file is a file that you can add to your Epson printer to allow you to select that paper in your media settings. For the Moab, I print under the Ultra Premium Presentation Matte paper, and the results are great. But for Red River, you can go ahead and install that EMY file, install the corresponding ICC profile. Moab does have ICC profiles for this printer, so make sure you use those, and then your colors should come out good. I'm also going to be using the perceptual rendering intent when I'm running these prints. And something when I was setting this up, I discovered that is really awesome that I did not know about before is Aurora is double-sided. So that's a huge perk. The Moab, you can only print on one side. I was trying to figure out which side I needed to print on to the Aurora, and it said that it's double-sided. So that's awesome as far as like printing books and stuff like that. It gives you a bit of a wider range of uses for the Aurora over the Moab. Moab, you can get it double-sided, but the standard Entrada 290 that I use is single-sided. This printer is all pigment, 11 color, a photo black and a matte black. Not my favorite machine, but I'm not a big fan of Canon small format printers either. I absolutely love their large format printers. That's all I use. But I bought this Epson because I do not like Canon's small format, and I have had some issues with this thing, but overall, it's decent. But that's a whole nother video. So I'm going to put two prints on each page, one black and white and one color. Ideally, I would print them a little bit larger, each on their own. But as I said, I only have one sheet of the Aurora. So I'm just gonna combine a color that has a lot of vivid colors and a black and white that has high contrast on the same paper and print it that way. All right, I'm back with the two prints. I tell you, discovering that Aurora is printable on both sides, I think that's probably gonna seal the deal for me. The Moab's really gonna have to impress me in comparison print-wise, because that's a huge perk. And I did double check with Red River's website, and they officially sell it as a double-sided paper, so it's the same on both sides. The Moab is a lot brighter. They do make an Aurora white, but it has OBAs, and I'm trying to stay away from that. Aurora Natural 300 and the Moab Entrada 290 Natural. So you can see how much brighter the whites in the Moab are. Especially look at her eyes. I don't know how well this is coming across on video, but in person it's very, very clear. The other thing that's a little funky to me is you can see in these areas, this one is just not as smooth. This one, that violet and the magenta are just very even. This one, it's not that it's speckled, it's kind of hard to describe. Hopefully you can see it in the video. But I like the way that these smooth gradients came across in the Moab a little bit more. So that's tough. Now, inkjet printers don't print white ink, right? The white you see is just the paper. So I don't know if I could handle cutting my whites down to the Aurora's brightness, even having the double-sided perk. That would be a really big bummer for a lot of my customers. So I'm gonna think on this, and I'm gonna let my eyes rest. It's the end of the day, so I've been staring at a screen and prints all day. I'm gonna look at these again in the morning and follow up. Well, here we are the next morning. I actually added one more print last night, but the camera was put away. So I had, from that sample kit from Red River, I had a sheet of the Aurora White 300 as well, which is their bright fine art paper. And I wanted to compare the whites in that to the whites in my Moab Entrada Natural, since that is what my biggest issue was when I left last night. So I ran the same print on the Aurora White. Now the Aurora White has minimal OBAs. I don't know how much, but when they say minimal, I'm guessing it's not very much. Probably not enough that it's going to make a big difference for a very long time. Okay, so now we are looking at the Aurora White and the Moab. Notice that the Moab is still a little brighter, which is a big surprise to me because it's OBA free and the white is not. Again, this area looks a little bit nicer in the Moab to me, but overall they're pretty good. But again, even in the cheeks, see the contrast difference. It's stronger in the Moab. I do slightly prefer the finished printed surface of the Moab a little bit more. But the Moab is quite a bit more expensive and it's single-sided. It is OBA free. The other thing is I print from rolls, so the double-sided aspect isn't going to be hugely useful to me if I was printing from rolls. So what I'm seeing here is that I'm going to be able to utilize both papers, or possibly all three papers. For now, I'm going to stick with the Moab rolls for my main fine art printing paper, but the price point combined with the double-sided aspect makes me think that I could get a fair amount of use out of the Red River Aurora paper as well. I'm planning on printing my first book in the next few weeks here and binding it myself. This paper is a little expensive to do that with until I kind of get the process down, and the first one I'm going to do with a coating on the paper, just fingerprint wise. But I'm really happy that I did this test. I think, you know, from a few feet away, the print surface of the Aurora White and of the Moab are pretty close. And you have to keep that distance in mind. You know, that's something that I have to talk to customers about a lot because they're analyzing their prints from like 6 inches away. And you're never going to look at a print from there. So it's smart when you're analyzing something to be looking at it, you know, under decent lighting and from a few feet away where you might actually look at it in the real world. Unless you're looking, you know, printing these for a photo album or something like that, which I probably wouldn't use paper like this for a project like that. So I'm not actually going to say the Moab is better because it's a lot more expensive. It's like Hahnemühle might have a step up on Moab, but it's so expensive that none of my customers, I don't think, would even consider it an option. So for certain people, this Aurora might be good, and for certain uses, I'm going to stick with the Moab, at least for now, for my roll printing. But if you're printing at home on a small format or on a large format, I do strongly advise that you order a sample kit, and I'm pretty sure you can get sample kits from Moab, or at least just order a small pack, and do these tests yourself. So I'm walking away from this test as I'm not going to write either one of these papers off because I think they're both great papers. One's a significantly different price point, but offers a significant bonus with the two-sided. So I think it's kind of a toss-up for this, depending on what your particular needs are. I hope this was helpful. If it was, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and have yourself a wonderful day. Thanks.